Hello. All right, guys. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience. As you guys are aware, I am currently out of town. I am back in um, Maryland, Texas, to just explore, and I will be back to my humble abode on Monday. But with that being said, we are going to go right into the topic for this week, okay? I am going to skip over the segment of in case you missed it because there's so many things that I want to cover today. There's so many gems that I want to provide, and I feel like I don't want to I want to maximize the time that we have to just get this show on the road. Okay, so this week we are going to be exploring the topic of finding yourself. And when I say finding yourself, I am talking about us being the best versions of ourselves. It doesn't mean that we are perfect or that we're always grinning from one ear to the next ear. That's not what I mean by finding ourselves. It just means that whatever selves that we found, we get to be feel better. We get to feel better about ourselves, about our mental health. We get to not cave into peer pressure, and we get to like remain truthful to ourselves. So ultimately, finding yourselves, when we find ourselves, it helps to boost our self confidence, our self awareness, our self esteem in general. And you get to know yourself better than anyone can ever know. And also, you get to be your advocate, whether in life, at job, in relationships, in marriage. You get to fight for yourself. You're your own lawyer, you're your own judge, and you're aware of what you want because you understand how to be true to yourself and what it is that you truly need. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Okay, so moving on to you guys know I like to show what I'm talking about, but unfortunately today I won't be showing PowerPoints. I'll just get to it again. Like I said, I just want to give you guys the gems that I have for you and get straight to the point. Okay. So, how do one find him or herself? That's the question a lot of may be wondering when you hear the topic of finding yourself. So, there are three questions that I would like you to ask yourself when you're talking about finding yourself. And these three questions will actually help to guide you. And I'm looking down because I am trying to put stuff up here. These three questions will kind of guide you on how to not only understand that, but dive deeper into it. The three questions are: what am I at my core? What am I at my core? Your deep, deep foundation, your roots. What are you? What are you at your core? What am I at my core? That's the first question you should ask yourself in trying to explore yourself. How am I being perceived? That should be question number two. How am I being perceived? We all know everyone sees us. We're not an island. We're interacting with people. We're engaging with others. So how are those people that I'm interacting with in my everyday life, how are they perceiving me? And then the third question, which is the most important, is how do I want to be perceived? Because there, so the three questions again: what or who am I at my core? How am I being perceived? And that would be by others without putting that. So the insert would be, how am I being perceived by others? And how do I want to be perceived? And going back now to the first question, if we're talking about who am I at my core, who am I at my core? The first question would be, what are core? What are your core values? Okay, what are your core values? Now, defining core values, we can just simply say that core values are the fundamental beliefs of a person or an organization. Oftentimes, when you're looking for a job and you go to the company website, you will see mission, you will see vision, you will see their core value, whether it's fair treatment, loyalty, integrity. You'll find every company have their core value. So it's the same for individuals. Every individual have a core value or values, whether they know it or not, whether you have identified it or not. Even a kid, what you're teaching your kid right now is contributing to like what they have and what they're going to carry on in life as their foundation. So, what are your core values? Okay, these core values are like the principles that dictate one's personality, their traits, their behavior, how they interact with others, and they also help people understand the difference between right and wrong. And oftentimes, they guide our behavior, like I said earlier. And some of the core values that can be behavioral or tied into our traits, our commitments, like how we are passionate about commitment, or whether we also have commitment issue. Our concerns for others can be influenced by our core value, how we believe. Behaviorally, if we're adventurous or not, it can also be tied to our core value. Um, Whether we're friendly, whether we're positive or negative, can also be tied to our core value. Okay, and also the causes and rights that we choose to fight for in life can also be influenced by our core values. Some people want to fight for freedom. Some people want to fight for equality. Some people want to fight for human rights, animal rights. Some people want to be philanthropists. Some people want or fights for some fight for the respect for individuals, the justice for individuals, and oftentimes those advocacy or fights are influenced by that individual's core value. Also, your core value can also influence just your outlook on life. You could be a positive person because of your core value. Say, for instance, you will have people who will say, "Oh, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that," because their core value is driven by religious beliefs and practices that they have been indoctrinated into from early age, and then they grow into it, and then that influence and dictate what they engage in or don't engage in. So you have people that also will not believe in God because of their core value. And that can be whatever it is that happened to them. It also will influence their approach on life. And then you have people who core values dictate their lifestyle, whether like you have people who are obsessive with health. So they'd rather live a healthy lifestyle and have a healthy life and work balance. And all of that is influenced by whatever it is that you believe at your core. As much as there are positive influences of core values, there are also negative influences of core value. You have people who have been brainwashed to believe that they cannot achieve anything in life because of their educational level, their their financial background, their race. Oftentimes, like the black race always have like this enigma of like, oh, I can't do it because I'm black. That's it's coming from somewhere. It's been indoctrinated. There's core values and influences that have impacted that person that they're not carrying, and they tap into that um, to guide that mentality. You also have people who, on the negative side, believe it's a dog eat dog world, so everyone has to fend for themselves, the strongest shall survive, and whatnot. So it can also be negative. Like the impact of your core values can also be negative. So I said all of this to say that it is highly important to know what your core values are and to not settle for anything. So that's the first step in understanding who you are. What are your core values? What do you believe in? What is driving your decisions? What is driving your actions? What is driving things that you do or do not? What is driving your outlook on life. Okay. So once you understand that, you will better understand yourself. But it starts from within. That's why the very first step you have to take is understanding your core values, your core. What are you at your core? Like, what is in your root? What has watered you? What has impacted you? What is deeply indoctrinated, entrenched, embedded in your being, that influences you, whether directly or indirectly. Sometimes we are influenced by actions subconsciously, and we're not even aware that something else is driving us. So it's always good to look into that and explore what is driving your decision. Okay. So then now we move over to question number two. How am I being perceived? How am I being perceived? And with this one, there may or may not be some truth in the way people perceive you, because at the end of the day, perception, I believe, is subjective because it's based on partiality. Like, say, for instance, I've had people who, up to today, will tell you Davi Chantel is stuck up. And these are people who I have had little or no interaction with. And now, is that my truth? No. Am I stuck up? I don't think so. I can bring another 10 people that would say I'm not stuck up. But that's their truth of me. That's their perception of me. So oftentimes you don't go around like having like I'm not walking around saying, oh, this person think I'm stuck up, so I might as well be stuck up to them because they already think I'm stuck up. No, that is there some truth in it? There may or may not be. Have they interacted with me at a party and I didn't say hi or I didn't pay attention to them? Yes. No, no, it depends. It could be yes, it could be no. Maybe I haven't. Did that influence that perception of me? Probably. It's like there's a famous image. I think it's often used in philosophy. It's like two guys are standing. One is to the front, one is to the back, and there's a number on the floor, and the one on the right is arguing that that number is 9, and the one on the other side is arguing that that number is 6, and they're both going at it. Someone say 9, almost 4, I mean 6, 9, 6, 9, 6, and they're going at it. And if you're looking at the picture, it's obvious that they're both right. Now, is there a truth in the can it be 6, can it be 9? Yes, it depends on the perspective. What angle are you looking at that number from? That's why I elaborated. Can I be perceived as stuck up? Yes, if the angle is I walked up in the room and I'm busy and I ran to my friend and you said hi to me and I didn't catch that, or I moved up, or I'm not like at a party like all up under your face or interacting with you and jumping all around and like trying to kiss ass, particularly, you may say I'm stuck up because I'm not standing from that perspective. Now, is that my reality? No, it's not. Is that the truth for me? No, it's not. But at the same time, that's what you perceived. So there could be some truth in that, but it's all perception. So the guy that's yelling that the number is 9 is just as could be right as the guy that's yelling that is 6, because at the end of the day, it's where they're standing from. So that's why I believe that perception is subjective, it's up for interpretation. The same time I could walk up in the room, someone else can say, oh no, she wasn't stuck up. She had a friend to say hi to, so she was running there. So again, that person's core values or core or experiences in life is affecting the way they perceive what they saw versus the person that think I'm stuck up. Their experience or whatever they're going through is also influencing the way that they approached what I did. So that's just an example. I don't think I've been to a party and someone was trying to say hi to me. I didn't say, but I just try to use myself as an example because I've heard that most people say that I'm stuck up, but it's again, it's a subjective interpretation. On the other side of that coin, I always say coin. On the other side of that coin, I also believe how someone perception can also be objective. Now there's always some truth, like that's famous saying, Where there's smoke, there's fire. It might be a little fire, it might just be a spike, a spark. But um, yes, people's perceptions of you are not your reality. That is so true. It's not always going to be your reality, like I said earlier. It could just be their interpretation of the situation. And oftentimes, that interpretation is driven by that person's personal experience um, with you, or just a partial understanding of you. That being said, as I was trying to say, perception can also be objective because we live in a physical world. The sun, if we all go outside and it's sunny, I don't think someone's going to come outside and say, oh no, it's cloudy. I don't care where you're standing from. If we're all looking at the same sun, we might debate on the rays in the sky. Are we seeing orange? Are we seeing red? Are we seeing yellow? But it's sunny. If we walk up in a dark room and it's jet black, like no sign of light, our sensories are going to project and tell us that it's dark. I don't think there's going to be someone in here that's going to say, oh well, based on my perception, I think it's very bright in here. So that's where it becomes objective. And that's why I feel like there's a little bit of truth in the way people see you, but also it's also not the whole truth. So it's partial. And that's why I said earlier, perception is subjective because of the partiality that's attached to it, because they don't have the whole truth. But now moving along, one one thing I would say, it is when you're trying to understand your true self, it's highly important to also understand how people perceive you. Now you don't have to take upon yourself to carry on that perception and try to like change everything about you just to please people, because you will constantly try to change yourself for others. So, no, what I'm about to say next is not a license to go out there and try to change yourself for others. That is not what this is about. What I'm going to say next is more of a explanatory. I can't even say the word for self exploration. Just to go ahead and examine yourself, try to figure out what it is that I can do better to not just impact my life, but my interactions with people. But this should be done with a grain of salt. So take this next advice with a grain of salt. What I would suggest to do, if for personal growth, is to reach out to few trusted people who you know, that their opinion matters, people who are more who provides more of a constructive criticism than a damaging, more of a self like a self-damaging criticism. So a constructive criticism is someone who's going to tell you, what you're doing wrong, why they think you're doing it wrong, how to move better. A constructive criticism should always come with a solution. If not, it's just a criticism. If a criticism is not coming with a solution with it, it's just a criticism. And no one likes to be criticized. We're human. We have emotions. We have egos. So reach out to a few people whose opinion really matter to you, um, who opinions really matter to you, and ask them. Ask them. Just be truthful, and you have to be willing to listen attentively. Also, listen with patience. Listen humbly. That means check your ego at the door. Put away your pride. Just ask them, how do you perceive me? Again, do not go online asking random strangers who have nothing to tell you, or who people who you do not know have malice in their heart for you. You have to go to trusted individuals, and ask people. Start with your parents, start with your siblings, start with your close friends. Ask them, how do you perceive me? Ask more than one person, because the goal is to look for commonality amongst what people are saying. Now, if someone said, "Oh, you're great," you're nice, and it should not be a one word answer. It's not, "Oh, how do you perceive me?" "Oh, I think you're cute. I think you're friendly." No, I like dive deeper. You're looking for things that you can like either work on or things that will impact your life. So like a construct, like someone can say, "Oh, I like the fact that you're there for your friends when they need you. You go above and beyond for people," and they can give you an example as to when you did that. So I would, or even on the negative side, you can say, "Oh, you're quick to judge before even understanding the full information." Um, and then they can give you an example of how you did it, and then tell you what they would have preferred in that situation. Because oftentimes when people are giving you constructive criticism, especially if there's someone that you know personally, it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from an encounter that you guys have had. And I would say, be, like I said earlier, be an active listener, be humble. Don't try to wait for them to say something that will hurt your emotions and then jump on them. But if it's about growth, if it's about getting to the bottom of exploring your true self, be open. So find a few people again that you really, really trust, whose opinion matter to you, and ask them, like, honestly, how do you perceive me? What do you think? What few things do you think I can do better in our relationship? And it doesn't have to be romantic relationship, platonic. Um, just ask people and look for the common traits, both positive and negative. Look for the common trait that everyone is saying. If someone is saying the positive stuff, if it's repeating over and over, jot that down, note that. The negative stuff, if two or three people within your trusted group, again, these are not strangers, within your trusted group are saying the same thing, note that as well, because that's something to work on. Because that will also add to your growth. That will also add to it finding yourself. Note that there's always room for growth, and growth is going to be painful. Growth is going to be uncomfortable, but it's needed. No one grows in comfort. No one. Is highly needed. So that's how I would say when it comes to like how other people perceive you. Um, but again, the most important thing, as much as you want to understand how people perceive you, the goal is to not go living your life for people. I don't want you guys to take this out of context. Do not go trying to fix your life because this person said, "Oh, I don't like your hair." You go cut your hair. Or, "I don't like that you're this," and you go and do that. That is not the goal. The actual goal is to reach out to trusted people, trusted individuals, and get that insight about how you're being perceived out there. And then look for again, they can give you their opinion, but you have to look for the common traits that these people talked about, both the positive and the negative, and then we can move on to the next process, which is the actual work. If it's positive, continue what you're doing. The negative, start the work. Start the work to implement the solutions that were provided, because again, constructive criticism comes with solution. If not, it's just a criticism. If it's not coming with a solution, you can't keep highlighting the problem that there is no solution for. How do you expect the person to fix it? Especially if they don't know that it's a problem. Maybe it's a problem because they don't even know that it's a problem. So you have to literally tell them that it's a problem and give them the solution to fix the problem, or work through, brainstorm some ideas together with them and try to work through the problem. Okay. So that is one thing I would say. Ask only people whose opinion you value. I can stress this enough. And look for the commonality in all of them. The last but not the least is, how do I want to be perceived? How do I want to be perceived? Now you have done the first job, which is to access yourself, to assess yourself, and understand your core. What are you? at your core values. And now you've sat down with people that you trust and understood how you're being perceived. The next thing you need to do now is evaluate how you want to be perceived. We all have this montage in our head as to what we want our life to be. Whether you want to be a fancy housewife, whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be whatever, we all have this dream montage in our head where we see ourselves running through like a bed of flowers, like just an aisle of flowers, and just living life and twirling in the sun, and just life is all good and dandy. However, you want people to perceive you, I'm not here to judge, but be curious, okay? And start the work. And starting the work comes with you actually exploring things that it is that you want to do. What is it that I want to do? Explore those things. Do you want to travel and add more knowledge and add more experience to yourself and grow into a better self? Do it. Traveling doesn't have to break the bank. You don't have to get on the first flight ticket to Paris or first flight ticket to Germany. Take a trip to the next town. Get on the bus. Drive down. Go around the city. Go around your town. Go to that local bookstore. Just explore things that you haven't done before. You'll be surprised what impact it will have on you. So explore and learn new things. Also be very, very intentional. You're learning. Be very intentional. And the last but not the least, do not settle. And I think a lot of people have problem with this in life. Don't settle. Okay? Never settle. And the reason why I say never, ever, ever settle, because settling can have an adverse impact on your life. Whenever you settle, there's something that you have given up. And when you give up something that is supposed to be a part of your journey here on earth, that is supposed to be a part of your purpose, it is going to nudge at you. It is going to push you. No matter how faint that push is, it will push you. And the longer you wait, the stronger that push becomes. The stronger that push becomes. And the more strength that push grows due to your settlement, due to you settling, that push will eventually push you in either two directions, either one of these two directions. It's either going to push you into depression or it's going to push you out of that settlement. It's going to either make you so miserable that you will have no other want or no other goal but to find a solution to your current situation. When you give up and you settle for something you're not supposed to settle for, something that is supposed to be part of your purpose here on earth, if you compromise and settle, that thing is not going to go away. It's going to pick at you. It's going to push you and push you. The longer you sit, the more it becomes stronger. It will push you. And it's either going to push you into depression or it's going to make your life so uncomfortable that you will have no other reason but to drop everything and pay attention to it. And that's why no matter what you do, you will find the job of your dream. But because that's not what you want, you're settling. After a few weeks or a few months or a few years, it's done. You're sick of it because at the end of the day, you settled for it. It was not part of what was meant for you. Okay? So again, be very, very truthful with yourself, and it will show. One of the famous quotes that I like here, um, again, I'm just gonna pop this up here. No matter what, don't settle. Um, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Growth is gonna require pain, and it will be uncomfortable, but it will be better. And in the words of the famous Shakespeare, he said, In Hamlet, to thy own self be true. At the end of the day, you get to live with yourself. When your family are no longer there, when even if they're in the house, when they're asleep, you get to live with your mind. When all the noise have died down and you've clocked off the clock, you've clocked out, you've gotten in your car, you've driven home, you're taking shower, you lay down in the bed, you get to live with yourself. Whether even though someone's laying next to you, in your head, you're living with yourself in your head and you get to answer to yourself. So to thine own self be true. Don't be true for other people. Be true to thyself. But first you have to find yourself. So again, to wrap this up, because I'm trying to keep this show between 30 to 45 minutes max. To wrap everything up, most important thing, to find yourself, ask yourself these three questions. What am I to my core? What are you to your core? Sit down and explore that. What are you? What's driving the way you think? What beliefs, what experiences are driving you? Can you get rid of some? Can you go to counseling for some? Can you meet with someone that caused you great trauma and sit with them and try to flush that out so you can cross out that core memory if it's having negative impact on your life? To, like, explore what's driving you. What's making you tick? What's your trigger? What is it? Explore yourself. Ask yourself this question. What am I at my core? Second question, how am I being perceived? But you should only care about the opinions of people who are going to impact your life positively. People who are going to give you constructive criticism, not strangers, not people on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, people who at your offices who you're just kicking with just to go home. It should be people who mean the world to you, people whose opinion you value. It could be your pastor, it could be your parent, it could be a sibling, it could be your husband, your fiance. One or two people, preferably three, honestly, just so you can get like a balanced view. Speak to these individuals. Try to figure out what is it about you that they either like or dislike, and take that into consideration for the work that is to come. And then the last one is, how do I want to be perceived? We all want, we all have a life in our head that we want. We all want the way we want people to think of us when they hear our name. What is that? If you have to like look, call a character or name someone dead or alive that you want to be like, who is it and why? And what work can you do to become that? And if you don't have any references, okay, you can be the reference for someone else, but you have to do the work. And in doing the work, don't settle. Accept where you're at, but don't see that as the be it and all. Never settle. So guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. One thing I didn't do today was to um do I didn't get chance to do the question of the day, and I didn't get the chance to announce the winner of last week's question of the day. So I'm going to do that live right here. So I'm logging into the Facebook page just to go through and see who met the criteria. And I will go ahead and announce them as the winner of last week's challenge, as well as post the question of the day for this week. Again, I'm traveling, I'm on the road, hence the reason why I'm holding my mic. I don't have my multi screens. But again, the show has to go on. Okay. So moving on to the previous week's video. Give me a second. I see a few people met the criteria, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick randomly in here comments. Mm, 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 mm. Do. Okay. The criteria again was you have to be following the page. You have to have watched the entire video. So watch the video in its entirety. You have to share your opinion of the video. And in addition, you have to share the video so that others can learn. So, having gone through this, the one person who did all three is Mr. Harry Hilton. Mr. Harry Hilton. Um, so yes, I will reach out to Mr. Harry Hilton and try to give him the prize for last week's competition, and the prize that he won to continue to encourage others to do the same is that he is going to get $50, 50 USD, to either purchase data for his continuous support, so that he can be able to tune into these shows, or he can use it as he sees fit. Okay. So, Mr. Harry Hilton, congratulations. You just won yourself 50 US dollars for being a great supporter of the show, following the details of the competition, which was answer the question of the day, um share the video, watch the video in its entirety, answer the question of the day, share your opinion on the video, as well as sharing the video. So I am going to start this week's challenge for this video, um and again, I will post the result next week. I will go through it and find the next winner next week. um the rules are, again, I will say it over and over until it sinks. Um, One, you must follow either the Facebook page or the YouTube page. On YouTube, it's called subscribe. On Facebook, it's follow. You can like the page as well, because we love the like. So you can like the page, and because that would say that we're providing content that you like. However, you must follow us to stay up to date with informations when we go live, when we post competitions, when we post events, when we're having fundraisers and whatnot. So you must follow the show, the page, the Davi Chantel Show. Must follow the show. You must watch that video for that week. So for this competition, you must watch this video in its entirety. So start from the beginning, watch the entire video. This video is going to be no more than 45 minutes. So watch the entire video. Comment your opinion on the topic of the day. So today we were exploring the topic of finding yourself. So make sure to comment on that. So many gems were, I shared so many gems. Explore them. Ask yourself what resonated with you. Expand on that. Comment on that. And fourth, but not the least, you have to share the video so other people can also enter into the competition. Hopefully you win again. Again, congratulations to last week winner, Henry Hilton. You won 50 USD, and I will reach out to you on Facebook to go ahead and give you that. Next week's prize will also be 50. Hopefully, the more we get support, the prices can increase. We will be doing scholarships on this forum. We will be doing scholarships. We will be raising money for families back in Africa. We will be doing a lot of giveaways. But for now, we will start with what we can start with. I don't have the cards for today. None the least, the show must go on. I'm going to get up, step away, and grab the cards so that we can pick a card that will provide us with the question of the day. Now we're going to take a quick break while you watch me walk over to grab the cards. And we got it, we got it, we got it, guys. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick one card like we're always doing. We're going to shuffle, 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 and pick a card. We're approaching the final countdown. We cannot go over 45 minutes because I'm trying to be respectful of people's time, their money, because time is money, as well as their data. Okay, so let's go ahead, shuffle, 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 shuffle. Get ready to type here. All right, so question of the day. I picked the very first card on top here. And the card says, now if you haven't had a boss, this one says, who is the worst boss you've ever had? This is assuming that you've been employed. So just to make this a fair one, I'm gonna go ahead and reshuffle and get a better card that might give everyone chance, because I don't think a 15-year-old, 16-year-old may have had a boss by now. Okay. This is more adult based. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm trying to make this fair for everyone because some questions are more it's with the age. We did this last week. Okay, I like this one because I feel like this would get conversation going. I like to have things that would get conversation going, and also impact. It's kind of backwards, so I'll read it. The question of the day says, what's one parenting trend that society is totally getting wrong? I will go ahead and type this here. Again, this is going to be the question of the day for next week. This is what the challenge is going to be on. The winner is going to get 50 United States dollars for contribution towards their data, for supporting my show, or to do with it as see fit. Okay. Give me a second. I'm typing up the question here so that everyone can see it. What's one parenting trend that society is doing? Okay. Question of the day. All right. So we're bringing this show to a wrap now. So there you go. I've posted the question of the day. It says, what's one parenting trend that society is totally getting wrong? That is the question of the day. Make sure to, again, the rules of competition is watch the entire video. Number one, follow the page, not just like the page, but follow the page. Watch the entire video. Answer the question of the day. Also comment on the topic of the day. Today was about finding yourself. And last but not least, share this video. Make sure that your family and friends get it. And then you might win the prize as Henry did for last week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I highly appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking this ride with me. Continue to be true to yourself, continue to explore yourself. Hopefully you watch this video in its entirety and explore, challenge yourself and ask yourself those 3 questions that were mentioned in this video. I love you all. Again, I highly appreciate your support and I can't wait to engage with you guys on this video and see you next week. Bye and have a great day.